Welcome to the SmartKeys podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to get into this one.
Yeah, me too. So, imagine waking up early, right? You fight an hour of gridlock traffic, you finally walk onto your company's third floor, and suddenly you realize you're going to spend your entire shift sitting at a desk on Zoom calls.
Oh, the worst.
Right, with colleagues who just decided to stay home. I mean, you made the commute for absolutely no reason. And that scenario is unfortunately the daily frustrating reality for millions of modern professionals.
It really is, yeah.
So today's mission for this deep dive is unpacking a really comprehensive guide by Felix Römer. It's published on smartkeys.org and it's called Hybrid Workforce Tools, Keeping In-Office and Remote Staff in Sync.
This is a great read.
It is. And for you listening, we're really focusing on the strategic insights here, the practical value of hybrid work technology. This isn't just about like desk booking. It's a blueprint for navigating the future of work and, maximizing business efficiency.
Exactly. And, that frustration you just described about the commute, that is exactly what's driving this absolute explosion in workplace technology right now.
Yeah, tell me about that because the numbers in the guide are wild. It says the hybrid workplace technology market was valued at an estimated $4.9 billion in 2023.
Right.
And it's projected to hit an estimated $21.1 billion by 2032.
It's massive.
That's an 18.3% compound annual growth rate. That's not just a trend.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And that rapid momentum, it proves that the hybrid work model isn't just some temporary Band-Aid. It is a permanent structural shift in how global businesses operate.
Right, because businesses don't commit tens of billions of dollars to a temporary fix.
Exactly. They're making those capital investments to build an entirely new foundation because, well, the old way just doesn't work anymore.
So let's break down why that old way is failing. We can look at the current business landscape. The guide actually categorizes the modern workplace into 4 distinct schedule models.
Yeah, and this is where the guessing game problem really comes into focus.
Right. So the most prevalent one, covering 56% of employees, is the at-will model. This is where employees have, total autonomy to choose which days they come in.
Which sounds great on paper.
Right. But then next, you have the mixed model at 25%, blending company guidelines with local team rhythms. Then split week is at 11%, meaning mandated in-office days. And finally, manager scheduled, where leadership dictates presence, is just 8%.
Yeah, so if you look closely at those numbers...
It's mostly just people doing what they want.
Exactly. When you combine that at-will and mixed model, over 80% of the workforce is on a highly variable fluid schedule. And psychologically and operationally, that just creates complete chaos.
Oh, I bet.
An office manager or an IT director, they have absolutely no idea if 30 people or 300 people are going to walk through the doors on any given Tuesday.
Okay, let's unpack this, because operating without these synchronization tools, it's like playing a massive game of corporate battleship.
That is a perfect way to put it.
You're just guessing where your team might be sitting, hoping for a hit. You show up expecting quiet and every conference room is double booked. Or you want to collaborate and the floor is a total ghost town.
And that unpredictability, it damages a business in 2 big ways.
Yeah.
First, it actively erodes company culture. Because if the office feels like a logistical hurdle...
People just stop coming.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And second, it's a massive drain on capital. Paying to light and heat thousands of square feet of empty real estate is basically financial negligence at this point.
Yeah, you're literally just burning money.
Right. So the primary goal of the tech in this guide is to align 3 specific things. People, the spaces they use, and the usage data. You align those, you remove the friction. The guide has this great quote, "Build for people first. Data will guide the rest."
Build for people first. I love that. So let's talk about the actual toolkits that solve this, because the guide outlines the core features we need, right? Like smart desk booking to prevent clashes, native calendar sync with Google or Microsoft 365.
Visitor management, digital signage. Yeah.
But it divides the market into 2 strategies, point solutions versus all-in-one ecosystems.
Yeah, and understanding the difference here is critical. So point solutions, they are highly targeted. They solve narrow problems really fast.
Okay, give me an example.
Well, the guide mentions Officely. It operates entirely within Slack or Teams.
So you don't even have to open a new app.
Exactly. It's incredibly fast for adoption. If you just need people to say when they're coming in, boom, point solution. There are others too, like Envoy dominates visitor and delivery management.
Oh, I've used Envoy. You sign in on the iPad at the front desk.
Yes, exactly. Then there's Cadence, which focuses on team coordination and creating these work neighborhoods. and DeskBird, which is heavily tailored for EU compliance and GDPR rules.
Okay, so those are the surgical tool.
Right. But then you have the all-in-one ecosystems. These aim to eliminate vendor sprawl by unifying everything. Robin is one, and the guide really spotlights Yerum's.
Yerum's, okay.
Yeah. Yerum specifically caters to regulated industries like finance and healthcare, where they need super tight controls and audit trails.
And what does something like that cost?
They have tiers.
Yeah.
There's a $99 a month starter plan just to get going, a $399 business plan that actually adds an AI assistant, and then an $899 enterprise plan for complex setups.
Wait, here's where it gets really interesting to me, but also a bit concerning.
Okay, what's that?
If a company is already totally overwhelmed by a messy hybrid setup, right? Wouldn't dropping a massive all-in-one ecosystem like Yarum's onto their laps just cause more adoption fatigue? Like, hey, everyone, learn this giant new software system.
Well, it's incredibly valid, and it's a real risk. The text actually addresses this directly. It advises against trying to boil the ocean all at once.
Right.
You have to start by identifying the specific tasks that slow your teams down the most. If your only real bottleneck is a chaotic front desk, just start with a point solution like Envoy.
Fix the bleeding first.
Exactly. You only upgrade to a massive ecosystem when juggling all those different point solutions, the vendor sprawl, becomes its own problem.
That makes total sense. But let's pivot for a second. Because a beautiful user interface on the front end means nothing if the underlying network is vulnerable or just, crashes.
Oh, the invisible backbone.
Exactly. We need to talk about the IT essentials required to make this remote and in-office synchronization actually work.
Yeah, a hybrid workforce completely breaks traditional IT. The guide details this essential modern IT stack. You need remote access. They cite Splashtop for that.
Okay.
You need identity and access management, or IAM, using tools like Okta, Azure AD, or Ping Identity.
Okta is huge right now.
Huge.
Yeah.
Then there's endpoint security, so CrowdStrike, Symantec, Carbon Black, and of course Cloud Backup, AWS Backup, Veeam, or Rubrik.
Okay, but the most crucial shift the guide talks about here is moving away from legacy VPNs.
Yes.
And moving toward this zero trust architecture. Because with a VPN, once you're in, you're in.
Right. You're inside the perimeter. You have broad visibility to move laterally across the network.
So what does this all mean for the listener? Basically, a legacy VPN is like giving an employee the master key to the entire corporate headquarters just so they can grab a file from the break room.
Exactly. It's way too much access.
Right. Whereas zero trust is like a security guard escorting them exactly to the fridge, letting them take their one file and then escorting them right back out. It completely stops any of that lateral movement.
That is the perfect analogy. It's called brokered least privilege access. It creates a one-to-one connection between the user and the specific app.
But doesn't all that heavy security slow things down for the employee?
That's where continuous experience monitoring comes in.
Continuous experience monitoring. Okay.
Yeah, the system constantly analyzes the connection's telemetry, so it spots latency or slowdowns before the user even notices. IT can route traffic differently in the background, keeping productivity steady, so the security doesn't accidentally become a bottleneck.
Wow. Okay. So the security is tighter, but the experience is actually smoother.
Exactly.
All right. So with the software mapped out and the IT secured, we really need to tie it all back to the bottom line, why it matters. How do these tools help a business stay ahead financially and strategically? Because proving ROI on this stuff is critical.
It's all about the utilization data. Historically, managers just guessed how the office was used based on, badge swipes at the door.
Which just tells you someone walked in, not what they did.
Exactly. But these tools give you reliable, granular data. You can right-size your real estate, cut unused desks, drastically reduce administrative time, and you have to evaluate the pricing models to prove that ROI.
Like the per user versus per desk stuff.
Right. A per-user model is great for broad access if you have a massive fluid workforce. A per-desk model is better for fixed seating. And then enterprise tiers give you multi-site SLA service level agreements to guarantee uptime across global offices.
The guide mentions combining events and sensor data, right?
Yes. If someone books a room for 10 people on a calendar, but only 2 physically show up,
the calendar lies.
The calendar lies. But if you have physical occupancy sensors in the room, the system knows only 2 people are there. Managers aren't guessing. They have empirical proof to negotiate leases and adjust floor plans.
Okay, but let me ask a forward-looking question here.
Go for it.
If we are integrating access controls and live occupancy sensors and calendar syncs to track exactly who is in what room, How do modern professionals balance this incredible spatial efficiency with the feeling that they are being constantly monitored by Big Brother?
Yeah, the surveillance anxiety is real.
I mean, I'd be looking at the ceiling thinking, are they tracking my bathroom break?
And that's why the guide emphasizes that people-first workflow principle again.
Yeah.
The data isn't there to micromanage humans.
Right,
It is there to manage the real estate.
right.
When you implement this correctly, with transparency, it actually gives employees more autonomy.
Because it removes the friction.
Exactly. You aren't wandering around looking for a desk or trying to track down a colleague. The app just shows you where your team's neighborhood is that day.
It's a tool for them, not against them.
Precisely.
So, synthesizing all of this into a practical takeaway for our listeners, the guide's final advice is basically start small, measure adoption, and expand what works.
Simple as that. Don't try to boil the ocean.
Yeah. Pilot some quick wins, watch your network performance, and then scale up. But I want to leave everyone listening with a final, slightly provocative thought to mull over.
Oh, I like these.
We've talked so much about how AI assistants and thermal sensors are going to create this perfectly synchronized, frictionless office, right? But here's something to think about on your own. If our software perfectly predicts our schedules and it herds us into these highly optimized little neighborhoods, do we risk engineering out the random, serendipitous encounters in the hallway?
Wow. Yeah, the water cooler moments.
Exactly. The encounters that often lead to a company's best creative ideas. Because if everything is perfectly frictionless, we might just lose the happy accidents.
That is a really profound point to think about.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the SmartKeys podcast. We really appreciate you spending your time with us. Please make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss our future deep dives.
It's been great.
And definitely click the link in the show notes to read Felix Römer's full article on smartkeys.org. It is packed with even more detail. Until next time, keep exploring.